What's up, y'all? New video. I didn't even expect this last time, but apparently Jeff Luhnow did an interview, and that's a lot of heat, and I heard it got a lot of buzz, so I decided not to watch it until now, so I could react to it with y'all. I will have headphones though, so it doesn't mess up the audio, and it's gonna be a bit weird, but it is what it is. I'll be back. You know what's crazy? I just typed Jeff L, which I guess is a lot of letters, but I typed Jeff L and Jeff Luhnow was like at the bottom, so that means his interview is trending pretty well.
Finding out in early November that our team had indeed broken the rules and had indeed cheated in 2017 and in parts of 2018 was devastating to me.
I thought he knew already. I thought he knew about the cheating already.
I was not expecting a year-long suspension. I was certainly not expecting the team that I had spent 8 years building to fire me, let me go.
That I had trouble with. I knew he got fired. I knew he was going to get suspended. Or I did not actually. What am I saying? I saw the suspension. I was like, oh, shoot. Okay, it's 1 year. We'll get through it. But Jim Crane firing him really hit different. And I still disagree with the firing. Because he's a GM. He's not the one banging on trash cans. He's a GM, I think he should have just taken suspension and then continue. He built this team. Like he said right here, he rebuilt this team. He drafted Springer, Correa, signed Altuve, got Jordan Alvarez for nothing. I think he drafted Bregman and Tucker as well. Traded for Verlander, Garrett Cole, and Zach Greinke, all without giving up Forrest Whitley, Kyle Tucker, or Jordan Alvarez, are three big prospects. This guy's a genius. This guy is the best GM in all of baseball. And they just fired him because of a publicity stunt. Like, our hate still came. It didn't stop at all. So, it was a huge mistake. Huge mistake.
So it was tough, no question about it.
I thought he knew, but...
I didn't know
we
were cheating. I had no idea. Major League Baseball's report stated that I didn't know anything about the trash can banging scheme.
It did say that? We'll get to fact check that right here.
And it felt like on that day that I was getting punished for something that I didn't do, and it didn't feel right.
It's honestly so messed up by Jim Crane.
And when you're telling the truth, it's pretty easy to be consistent because you're just recounting what happened. And
I like that quote. When you're telling the truth, it's pretty easy to be consistent. No matter what Jeff Luhnow says, he will always be the best GM in my eyes. And I don't think anything could change that. I feel so bad for him. He doesn't deserve this. He didn't deserve, I don't know. I thought he was behind it, but I guess not.
By me saying, I wish I knew, because if I knew, this never would have gotten to where it got to.
He is good at damage control.
In fact, there's a few text messages where they say, don't tell Jeff.
I think he's telling the truth, to be honest. Like, the top comment right now says he contradicted himself like 32 times. Like, shut up, Fred. Who even are you? This guy, that guy's probably the same guy who'd be like, Jose Altuve wore a buzzer, even though the report said that they stopped mid-2018.
When you read through those text messages, and I'm talking about the video decoding scheme, I'm not talking about the trash can banging scheme, two separate things, but it's pretty clear who was involved in the video decoding scheme, when it started, how often it happened, and basically when it ended. And it's also pretty clear.
To clarify for y'all, the video decoding scheme and the trash banging scheme are different in that they decoded it in the dugout, not in the dugout, in the video room, and then they had to have a way to relay the code that they decoded to the Astros. So they had to go from the video room to the dugout, and that's how the banging came, because, yeah, I think. They continued the video decoding scheme through to mid-2018, but the trash can banging scheme stopped before 2018 started. So in between 2017 and 2018.
He could have called any one of those people to ask about my integrity, my character, my honesty, and he chose not to contact any of those people.
Rob Manfred really screwed Jeff over.
He had his mind made up. He was going to punish me. There was nowhere else to go. He was going to punish AJ as well. And
Dang,
AJ admitted that he knew.
AJ
also admitted that he never spoke to me about it and never told me about it. But with me, it was a tougher case.
Screw Rob Manfred now. You know, whoever hires Jeff Luhnow next is going to be a team that I root for. I still root for the Astros. But man, Jeff Luhnow was really done dirty.
The Dodgers and other clubs, but I know the Dodgers for sure, were adamant about some big punishments. And they wanted the manager and they wanted the general manager to go down in this scandal. And
I get why the Dodgers ask for a huge punishment. I would too if I was a Dodgers fan or worked with the Dodgers.
I didn't have an assistant GM.
We used to have an assistant GM. He got fired for yelling, for apparently telling a bunch of women reporters. I'm so glad we got Ozuna. I think that was stupid too, because Ozuna's case was an allegation that got dropped. So for all we know, Ozuna didn't do anything. And he's a great closer. So obviously, you could say, I'm so glad we got him. And you have a bunch of the women reporters who are probably mad that they got him because they probably believe that, I'm going to stop. They were probably mad at the GM because they got Ozuna, because they think that he did something. And I'm not saying he didn't do anything, but legally speaking, his case was dropped by the plaintiff. So his girlfriend dropped the case, and they still think he did it, and they're upset that because of an allegation that got dropped. So honestly, if I was the assistant GM, I would have said that too, because I know dang well those reporters were probably barking at him, talking about how Ozuna's a horrible person for an allegation that got dropped with no substantial evidence. So yeah, I would try to dig a cheap shot back at them. They're annoying. And for no reason, if you think about it. So that was a stupid reason to fire the assistant GM. And yeah.
The reality is the Astros cheated in 2017 and cheated a little bit again in 2018 using just the decoder method. There's no reason why we needed to explore breaking the rules to gain an advantage. It made
facts right there too.
There's another incident before anything about cheating was revealed, and it's Brandon Taubman making insensitive remarks to a female reporter.
That's what I was talking about.
What are your memories of that night, and what was your role in the cleanup of that?
That was, I was so disappointed.
I wasn't.
That happened. That should never have happened. And as you got to go back to, you weren't here. We were terrible. 2011, 2012, 2013, it was the worst team in baseball, and it wasn't even close. And we didn't have a very good farm system either. We turned it around completely. By 2015, we made the playoffs. Think about it. 2015,
should have beat the Royals if it weren't for Carlos Correa.
5 playoffs in 6 years. 4 American League championships in a row. No other team in baseball has been on that type of run. Maybe the Dodgers, but they never got to the same endpoint that we got to.
Well, they didn't get there because we cheated.
Why we have to soil that with ridiculous cheating executed by people who are, weren't, they didn't ask for permission. They just did it. Had they come and asked me for permission, I would have said no. Had they gone and asked Jim for permission, he would have said no. There's just no reason why that should have happened.
Facts.
I enjoyed the challenge of taking a terrible organization and turning it into a dominant organization, dominant team.
Did.
We kept Tucker, and
he kept
we've got
Tucker.
A lot of. We still have Whitley on the farm. There's still a lot of promise in the young
Don't get it twisted. Nobody else in the organization did anything, and nobody would have done what he did. He kept Kyle Tucker.
I think they've got a good chance.
Jeff Luhnow is the best GM in all of baseball because he was able to get 3 Cy Young candidates. I think 2 Cy Youngs, 1 candidate, without giving up any of our favorite prospects. He
Very
is the
much
face
so.
of the Astros, okay? Don't get
All
it
the
twisted.
players
Not
on the
Carlos
team,
Correa, not
from
Altuve,
Dooley to,
not Kata. Nobody on the
Altuve
squad
is
right now
a
is the face of the
pitch
Astros.
year,
It should be
and
Jeff Luhnow
Graham and Altuve. I mean,
as the face of the Astros right now.
when you go through something like this, you realize who your friends are, and you know who was just sort of hanging around because they, you know, because I happen to be in a position that I could get them tickets or I could tell them
Hey,
fun
wait.
stuff.
He can give me tickets? I'm trying to get some
several
tickets.
of the players. I've got a 6-year-old. I spend a lot of time with him. I have 2 kids in their 20s, and they were here.
Damn.
Combination of getting fired and then having a pandemic
He's got kids in his 20s and a 6-year-old.
allowed me to spend. In some respects, it was a good time for me to take a 6-month sabbatical.
I think he's taking more than a 6-month sabbatical. He probably would have had that break in the pandemic anyways.
In 16 years, I won 5 World Series rings.
Hold up,
So
what?
that's
Hold up, he's won that many rings?
I was not expecting to be treated the way I was treated at the end by the owners of the Astros.
Yeah, I wasn't
I
expecting that too.
trusted
That was
the owners and I
total,
trusted the
total
the team had
total
potential.
betrayal.
And, you know, I've taken a hard look at the NFL, at the NBA, a little bit at NHL. I didn't grow up around hockey, so that was a little tougher. Esports,
This guy's looking
soccer,
into
both in our continent and in Europe.
esports?
And
This guy's
what I
looking into
realized is that
soccer, football,
opportunity
basketball?
to-
That's crazy.
projects
That
I'm
is crazy.
currently working
Imagine
on,
Jeff
projects
Luhnow
I'm
being the
working
GM of a NBA
I'm
team or
hopeful that
something.
in the next couple of months,
What I said earlier about a team rooting for whoever hires Jeff Luhnow
we'll figure something
does not apply to basketball, football, or soccer. I'm not gonna root for any
Well,
other sports
After I
because
was
it's boring.
fired. Once the season started, I knew I wasn't going to say anything until the Astros were done playing. I didn't want to take away from anything that they were trying to do this year.
I
But
love Jeff
it's
Luhnow
been
so much, bro.
hard to read. Everybody likes to boil things down to sound bites or Twitter.
Yeah, that's right. Fake news.
Luhnow was behind this.
Fake news.
This is Luhnow's culture. It's not.
It's not.
Couldn't be further from the
Couldn't
truth.
be further from the
And
truth.
I have to let people know that.
Let
My
them
integrity
know.
is being questioned.
Let them know. Jeff
Everything
Luhnow.
I worked for the past 16 years. is
Best
being questioned.
GM in all of baseball.
And
And if he moves to a different
it's
sport, he's the best GM
You
in
know,
any
I was
sport.
accused- I'll take my punishment because
That's
I
a
was
man
the general
right there.
manager. But I'm not gonna let people label me as a cheater. I didn't have anything to do with it.
What would you say to Astros fans who are watching this?
Oh, he's talking to me now.
Those are memories that will always be with us. Going
My
back out in 18 and
TikTok
getting to
comment
the
section
NLCS.
says otherwise.
In 19 You know, the Astros broke the rules. They shouldn't have done it. I'm mad about
I'm mad about it
it.
too.
We should be mad about
I
it.
am.
And this is a life lesson for everyone.
Not really. We didn't
As
cheat.
long
It's
as
for
we
the players.
recognize
You were done dirty
that it was
too,
wrong.
Jeff Luhnow.
And I gave it everything I had. I want every Houston Astro fan to know that.
I believe you,
8 years,
Jeff.
I gave it everything I had.
I believe you. Not gonna lie, when they gave out the trailer for it, I thought Jeff Luhnow was gonna drop some bomb. Like, the Yankees do it too. Here's some tweets or texts. I thought he was gonna drop some bomb. That didn't happen. That's okay. I genuinely think that the Astros, especially Jim Crane, have really messed up in this past year. Like, heck, dude, like, Manfred kind of gave you a way out with a 1-year suspension. Take it. What is up with you? Why do you want to fire them? Why would you fire the GM that brought your team to where it is now, even if he knew? Don't fire him. What? It's not like he's going to do it again. Don't fire him. Just let him live out the suspension and then come back. And he would have done some great things. Like I said earlier, George Springer would still be an Astro right now if it weren't for Jeff Luhnow being fired. I solely believe that. Before y'all say, no, Jeff Luhnow wouldn't have done that because he would have been suspended. True. So maybe not by now, but like he would have 1,000% re-signed George Springer. The Astros would not have gone below 500 if AJ Hinch was still the manager. And I fully believe that. That said, Dusty Baker did what he did in the postseason. You know, The reason why we went under 500 is because to Dusty Baker, the regular season was spring training 2.0. And he showed that in the postseason, that he was just playing with y'all. Like, this dude is playing mind games, to be honest. So I'm just gonna, next year, I'm just gonna hold in that pain knowing that I trust Dusty Baker in the postseason. Jeff Luhnow signed Michael Brantley. That was a great signing. Josh Reddick was a pretty good signing, not even gonna lie. He's made some great trades. Jeff Luhnow's, I said it a ton of times and I'm gonna say it again because I solely believe this. Jeff Luhnow is the best general manager in all of baseball history. It was really nice to hear that he still roots for the Houston Astros. I really, really, really hope that somehow Jim Crane could just suck up his ego and just rehire the man, because Jeff Luhnow deserves his job here. Not here because this is San Francisco, but he deserves his job with the Astros. He planted the seeds that grew to become the Houston Astros, and they are still harvesting right now. And Jeff Luhnow deserves all the credit for this harvest, and it sucks that he's not the face of it right now. He shouldn't be James Click. It shouldn't be Dusty Baker. Though, Dusty, I love what you did in the postseason. It shouldn't be any of the players, because if it weren't for Jeff Luhnow, none of these players would be here. Heck, let's look at Carlos Correa's draft. If it weren't for Jeff Luhnow, Carlos Correa would probably be playing for the Oakland A's right now. The Oakland A's were the next team to draft a shortstop. And guess what? The Oakland A's drafted Addison Russell. So who knows? The Astros very well could have gone with Addison Russell. He's a great player. And if the Oakland A's drafted Carlos Correa, we're seeing a whole new AL West right now. Let's talk about Alex Bregman and Kyle Tucker. Alex Bregman was drafted second, and Dansby Swanson was drafted first. Okay, I don't even care what y'all say. Alex Bregman is better than Dansby Swanson. I don't even want to hear. I don't even want to hear what y'all say. Don't even at me. Okay, don't even at me. Okay, so the Astros could have drafted either Dansby Swanson or possibly some random kid named Brendan Rodgers. We would have some rando at third base right now, because I know dang well Dansby Swanson won't be playing third base. If it weren't for Jeff Luhnow, we'd be stuck with some rando shortstop. And then Kyle Tucker, the next guy drafted, great draft. Next outfielder who was drafted, Andrew Benintendi. He's been irrelevant all season. Does he even play anymore? I've never heard of him still. Kyle Tucker, I'm not going to say he has a better career than Benintendi, because Benintendi was raw with the Red Sox. But it's clear now that Kyle Tucker is still finding his ceiling, and Benintendi is stuck wherever he is right now. I have no idea where he is. Ian Happ is the next outfielder draft. He's pretty good, not even gonna cap. This is a good draft class. But big thing is Bregman. If the Astros went with Brendan Rodgers, this is a whole different squad. If they went with Dansby Swanson, well, he wouldn't still be here, because Carlos Correa is better than Dansby Swanson. Don't at me. I know some of y'all gonna hate because we cheated, and you're gonna assume that Carlos Correa is the worst shortstop in the league. Shut up, y'all all know he's the best shortstop in the league right now. I honestly cannot name a better shortstop off the top of my head. If you guys can name one, and I agree with you, then I'll agree with you and I'll say I was wrong. But right now I can't think of one. Alex Bregman, probably one of the best third basemen in the league. Not the best. There's Nolan Arenado. There's Matt Chapman. There's Anthony Rendon. So, but he is, actually I like Bregman more than Rendon, to be honest. So there is that. And then who else? George Springer. Let's see where he was drafted. When he was drafted. So George Springer was drafted in 2008 by the Twins. That is crazy. That is pretty crazy. So, wow. But let's look at the 2011 draft. Let's see where George Springer was drafted. George Springer was drafted 11th. So let's see who the next outfielder was. Brandon Nimmo. He sucks. I'm not even gonna lie. Garrett Cole drafted first by the Pirates. Makes sense. Bubba Starling. See that the Kansas City Royals the first outfielder drafted was Bubba Starling. That's what happens when you have a bum general manager. You know what happens when you have a good general manager? You draft guys like George Springer. Next outfielder drafted was Mickey Matuk? I don't even know. So there were four outfielders drafted, but we can't count Bubba Starling because one, he sucks, and two, he was drafted before George Springer. So you have these guys who look at these picks: George Springer, Carlos Correa, Alex Bregman, Kyle Tucker. These are all great picks from the draft, all grown straight from Houston. These players stayed with us because Jeff Luhnow and AJ Hinch both decided these are the talent that is gonna prosper, and that's what happened. They prospered. And he is a really special mind that the Astros lost. They could have lost him temporarily, but Jim Crane decided to be an idiot. Jim Crane, you're an idiot. AJ Hinch, I'm excited to see where he goes next. He's a great manager as well. The only mistake I can remember from him was Game 7 of the 2019 World Series. I genuinely believe he didn't know. But at the same time, that doesn't change anything about what happened and what will happen, you know. Even if he did know, he got his suspension, he got fired. Still a big mistake. But, and, you know, they still cheated. Whether he knew or not doesn't really change that. But it does change my opinion on Jim Crane. I think Jim Crane is a douchebag who just cares about the public opinion because he just cares about money, you know. He is the most unloyal owner in all of history. Jim Crane fired Topman because of what he said, but Topman didn't say anything wrong if you think about it. If he only said, "I'm so glad we got Ozuna," well, I was glad we got Ozuna too. Are you gonna cancel me for being glad that we traded basically a nobody for our closer? You know, I'd be glad to, especially if he was part of that trade. And then, of course, firing AJ Hinch and Jeff Luhnow. Like, Jim Crane, you don't have to get all fancy with that stuff. Like, I'm not gonna lie, that's the only reason why I know who you are. I don't care who you are, okay? Like, just pay our players and do your thing. So why you have to go out of your lane and do something that was unnecessary, you know? But yeah, that was my reaction to Jeff Luhnow's interview. Thank you guys for watching. My voice is out. It is 1:07 right now. Hold up. It is 1:07 right now. 1:08 now. AM, by the way, not PM. So, I'll see y'all later.
I lie for you, baby. Die for you, baby. Cry for you.